as we get older and need to cut down our living expenses, it gets really hard to figure out the process and to judge what to cut and what not to cut. But this is how my husband and I cut our living expenses in half in our 60s. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Jill, and this is How to Pay Less for Everything. So the story of how we cut our expenses is kind of two parts. Part number one is that we moved from Southern California to just south of Nashville, Tennessee. And what that did for our expenses was this. We had basically a 3,800 square foot house in California, and we have a 2,100 square foot house here in Tennessee. So that is going to factor into this to some extent. Our lot's the same size. So when we moved, we reduced our housing cost from $5,010 a month to $2,343 a month. We still have a mortgage, so that is included in there. The way we did it was our principal and interest went from $3,450 a month to $1,978 a month. And keep in mind, our interest rate is higher here. We had a really low interest rate in California on our mortgage. The other thing is that our taxes went from about $1,000 a month to $175 a month. Those are our real estate taxes. So that was a drastic drop as well. Our homeowners insurance went from about $350 a month to about $150 a month here in Tennessee. Now, the $350 a month was homeowners and earthquake insurance in Southern California. And here in Tennessee, we have both homeowners and wind and hail insurance for our home. Our HOA fee, our homeowners association fee, went from $310 to $40 a month. So as you can see, the housing costs alone, it's a drastic difference making the move. It's not easy to make a move. I get it. It wasn't easy for me at all. I hated leaving my home. Southern California was my home, and I didn't want to leave. My daughter and her family and my 5 grandbabies are still there. Now, our son did move. He moved to Austin, Texas when we left California, so he moved at the same time. But that was the place we raised our kids. We had to sell our family house. It wasn't fun, and it wasn't something I necessarily wanted to do. But it kind of was a necessity if you're ever going to be able to get to retire and save some money and live on a lower income. And as I'm saying, it was hard to move from my home state of California. I do love the Nashville area. I do love the value system. I like the people, how friendly they are. I like how safe it is. I like how pretty it is. So there's so many good things about this area. So the other things that made a difference in this move are California's state income tax, and it does vary. You're going to have to check what yours would be, but it is around 9.3%. Tennessee has 0 state income tax. So big savings again right there. Our highest electric bill, and this was probably back in 2015 before we got solar on our California house, our highest electric bill was about $1,000 a month prior to getting solar. In Tennessee, we've been here just over 2 years. I run the AC all the time because I'm always hot. So our highest electric bill here was about $235 a month. Again, drastic difference. Yes, it is a smaller house, no question. And but we have 2 systems here like we did in California. We have 2 HVAC units. The other thing is that the gas you put in your car. In California, it's about $4.76 a gallon, and here it's about $2.85 a gallon. So again, drastic difference in gas prices. In general, car insurance is about 26% lower here in Tennessee. Now, it's hard for me to compare apples to apples because we had 2 kids on our car insurance. We were there, so it's a little difficult to compare. So I just took the average for this comparison. Food is about 9.6% cheaper in Nashville than it does in Los Angeles. Now, we're from Orange County, California, which is just, an hour south of Los Angeles. So those are fairly good comparisons, and we live about 30 minutes south of Nashville here. So the other things we did have nothing to do with where we live. So these are things that if you're saying to me, Jill, I'm not moving, these are things that you can do without moving. These are things you can do right where you are, wherever you are. So number one is we use coupons and shop sales for groceries. You always want to get the store app. You always want to use it when you shop, add your coupons to it, look at the sales. My husband buys things. He's the cook and the grocery shopper. So he buys things on sale. So he may buy a huge piece of meat, cut it up, and use his food saver machine to properly package it and freeze it. So he saves a lot of money by buying large portions on sale and breaking them apart. So there's so many ways you can save. You can also save by downloading apps like the coupon apps that allow you to scan your receipt. And then as you scan these receipts, you build up points in this app. And then this app will allow you to get gift cards for the points. So X amount of points allows you to get a gift card of a certain amount. So there's a lot of ways you can compile savings to save on food. Other things we did were, one, we no longer have a house cleaner. We used to have someone clean our house every other week, and I think back then it was about $150 a month. We do that ourselves. My husband and I both work from home, so we kind of split all the chores, and we don't pay that anymore. The other thing, I hate cleaning, so what I'll do is do a small job, every day, some little small job. We'll go for a week and do nothing, but then, when it's time to clean again, I might vacuum the upstairs one day and then just dusting the downstairs one day and something like that. So I don't want to spend my whole day doing it, nor can I with work. So that kind of works out. It's just a small little chunk of time you're using to do that job. The other thing is we don't have a landscaper anymore, gardener, landscaper, someone handling our lawn maintenance and our weed control. Having no more landscaper and no more weed control service and handling it all ourselves, and by ourselves, I mean my husband does it, that saves us probably about $300 a month, because those services really add up. If you do, have your lawn mowed weekly, you're talking, even here in Tennessee, like $45, $50 a week. And then the weed control services can be a couple thousand a year. So you're saving anywhere from $200 to $400 a month by not having those services. Now you're adding back in the cost to do it yourself, which is, gasoline for the lawnmower. If you have a gas powered one, ours are battery. And you're also having to buy the supplies to put on the ground and take care of the weeds and overseeding and aerating and all that. You're also having to rent the machines. So that's why I say it's $200 to $300, because I'm adding back in those costs. Even adding back in the supplies and the renting the machines to do it yourself, you're still saving so much money by handling your yard work yourself. The other thing we stopped doing was using a dry cleaner. When it got to the point where I was paying with tax and fees $10 to clean a shirt, that's insane. To me, that's ridiculous. And of course, I remember when it was $1.99 a shirt. So now I do the laundry, and I did buy a steamer. So I will steam the shirts when they come out of the laundry. Try to pull them out of the dryer really quick, and then I'll just steam them all, and to get the wrinkles out. So that saves at least $50 a month. Now, every once in a while, we may have to clean, a sport coat of my husband, something like that. But I won't buy clothes that say dry clean only. If it's dry clean, I'm not buying it. And he's kind of got the same rule now too. So that saved a lot. The other thing we saved a lot on was getting rid of DirecTV. I've always thought there were way too many channels on it, and it was confusing, and there's just too much to sift through. Anyway, so we got rid of that, and by doing so, we have no cable and no DirecTV payment whatsoever. Now, I've got another video that talks about exactly how we did this, but we bought a little Tableau antenna, and the only things we do now are we subscribe to ESPN. We have NFL Plus's lower level membership for just the football season. And I think we've got one or two other small apps. But even adding those things in, we still save over $136 a month by getting rid of DirecTV. Between the antenna, the Tubi and Pluto and those free TV services, they cover the gamut of most of what we want to watch. Then if something's really important to us, we will buy the app for a short period of time. So the other thing is we have Amazon Prime. So we have Prime Video. We can see quite a bit on Prime Video. The other thing I have, and again, I have a video about this, go watch it, is Walmart Plus. I love Walmart Plus. Go watch my video about this because you'll see, it goes into detail why I have it, why it's important, and what we save using it. But one of the things that they have also is free TV service through Paramount. That's a Paramount Plus essential package, so we get that free as well. I travel a lot. 2 times a year it's for work, but then another 6 times a year it's to go back to California to see my grandbabies. So there's some tips I will give you for keeping travel a little bit less expensive. One is figure out which airline you're going to use most often and make sure you join the frequent flyer program. You'll be surprised at the points adding up for you and allowing you to get free flights. As a matter of fact, my next flight is completely free because of points I've earned from flying. So the other thing you want to do is book way in advance when it's less expensive. Now, Southwest is the airline that services Nashville the most. So that's who I fly. So what I'll do is book way in advance and I'll book the cheapest fare. This is all going to change because they're about to go to seat assignments and going to get very different going forward. But I'm there because I'm A-list preferred. I'm at their highest level. Right now, I am booking their cheapest flight. I still get a free check bag. I still get to board at the end of the A group at the worst boarding spot, and I still get free Wi-Fi. So I don't need to pay for that higher fare. It doesn't get me anywhere. So I stick with the cheapest fare they have. The other thing I do is when I'm booking, if possible, I will click on the low fare calendar. So I may say, okay, I want to know, I may give it dates and city pairing, but then when it pops up to show me the available flights and the price, I will click on the low fare calendar. Sometimes it's drastic. It'll show you, sometimes it's half the price on a certain day. So, for instance, my next trip is going to be on Thanksgiving Day. I know that's not ideal. However, it is dirt cheap. And as I was saying, I'm using points, but points equate to a dollar amount. So still, it's saving me a ton of points or a ton of money. Now, I think my ticket was $142 one way. And if I went the next day, my ticket would have been between like $550 and $800. So needless to say, that was out. I had to work around that low fare calendar. It can be drastic. Don't fly on the holidays if you can help it, or fly on the holiday when no one else is flying because they're all, already at their destination. So that's one way to look at it. I also bring my own food. All I buy at the airport is a bottle of water because I can't bring that on. And you don't even have to do that. You can bring an empty container, and a lot of the airports have the water fill stations right there. So the other thing that's hugely important is don't go out to eat. Don't use the food delivery apps, and even pack your own food when you travel. So those apps and those delivery fees and paying for food out can be your largest expense. It can be more than your mortgage, depending where you live. So be careful about that. So I know that stinks because you don't always feel like cooking. And I personally never feel like cooking. I don't like to cook. I'm very lucky that my husband cooks and enjoys it. So it's easy for me to say, hey, don't, order out or go out to dinner because I don't cook. But the savings, the amount of money you can save by sticking to this rule, like you said, it can be more than your mortgage payment. It's astronomical. And I think one of the biggest things you need to do is have a budget. Just take a spreadsheet and write down every one of your expenses. You'll keep adding to it because you never remember them all right off the bat. Even if it's a yearly expense, I've broken it down monthly on our expense sheet so that I know exactly what we need every month in order to cover our bills. If you don't know what you're spending, you're going to have no clue how to save. So that's got to be job number one, is to write down your expenses. Don't make it fancy. I don't. It's an Excel spreadsheet. It's very simple and basic. Make it something that you can relate to and understand. Just make sure everything's on there. Sometimes, I'm telling you, to this day, I've had it for years, and to this day, I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't write ABC category on our spreadsheet. So that's going to be really important. Thank you so much for watching and for listening today. Please subscribe to either the video or the podcast and leave a comment. Let me know what you would like a video made about. What do you want to hear about? What do you want to learn about saving on? And I will see you in the next episode.